Class 6, we are going to start getting into Animbot. And like I said to the guys earlier in the class, I'm going to go over the Animbot stuff pretty sparingly. I'm only going to go over a little bit at a time in each class, just because like the use of all of these tools, there's a lot of overlap, but there's also a lot of utility in each of the tools. It's all really, really, really powerful stuff. And so I thought it best to just divide it up into small portions for each class. That way it'll leave a lot of time at the end of the class for you guys to ask any questions. All right, cool. So let's start by giving credit where credit is due. Shout outs to Alan. He is awesome. Thank you so much for creating A-Tools and Animbot. You're making everybody's lives easier. The link actually to the website is actually in the Thinkific lecture. If you guys have any troubles like downloading or like installing it, you can find help here. Although I gotta say, it's probably one of the easiest things to install. It's pretty much just drag and drop into the viewport and it'll do the rest for you. It'll even stay updated for you if you so wish. But the other website that's actually very, very helpful that even I look back at it a lot only because there's so many tools in Animbot. I actually look at this site. It's the tooltips. And I'm not sure why, but it displays kind of funny in my browser. It doesn't normally look like this, but you can pretty much find all of the tools of Animbot in this slider down here. And then let's say, I'll go to one over here, there. And once you click it, it'll bring you over to the tool, and then it'll show you like a GIF of how it's used. Super, super helpful stuff. That's also in the lecture too. Okay, so we went over installation. All right, so the first thing I want to show you guys is in case anything gets messed up. I'm going to show you guys how to get back to default. So over here in the Animbot, I have my Animbot toolbar down here. Over here is the Animbot menu, and you'll see that there's a little triangle right there. This indicates that there's another menu that you can get to. You can either click it or you can right click it and then go into preferences. To get everything back to default, you can restore them here. You can actually import preferences from another version of Animbot. Let's say like you use it at work and you want to bring your preferences home, or if you work at home and you want to bring your preferences to work, you can import and export here. And then one of the other things that I use quite a bit is, I actually want to start with this because it's actually really, really useful, this search over here, because not all the time do I know where the tool that I want is. Let's say I'm looking for the overshoot, and I can just find it using this spyglass as opposed to having to look through the menus. And it's a great place to set hotkeys if you want. You can use this button to set hotkeys, and you can actually use this button to set it to the shelf. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go on. I'll go over shortcuts and all that pretty soon. I use shortcuts really, really heavily in Animbot, but I'd like to show you guys everything just out of the box first, and then we can get to customization a little bit later. So in order to demonstrate the power of Animbot, I actually prepared a few examples prior to this whole workshop starting. And so the one we're going to use today is the bouncing ball example. Alrighty, so I'm going to open up my reference editor and I'm going to load up this rig. Ta-da! Okay, cool. So here I have my shot cam. Here I have my viewport cam, and then I'm just going to deselect all of these filters, so I just have my curves. And you can see it's just a basic like ball that's bouncing, right? And so what we're going to go over today are the green tools. The green tools are over here on the left. Let me see. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a new thing in Animbot that I forgot to mention. The workspace. I love this change. Okay, so now you can adjust what tools are here, what tools are showing by default. You can get to your workspace through here, through the menu right here, or you can just right click right here and hit workspace. And right here, there's a couple of these columns that'll let you customize your toolbar. You can have the classic toolbar, the beginner toolbar, and you'll see that, you know, a lot of these tools are, or the tools that are showing, you know, it's a lot more condensed. Compact being just those ones, expert being, I'm guessing, just the ones that you like use a lot. These are the ones, basically, these are the ones that animators use constantly. These are the ones that I find myself using constantly. But I'm just going to go with the older version. I have quite a bit here, and so it might be easier for me to like find things since this is what I'm used to. Toolbar position, you can change where it is in relation to the timeline if you want it on top. I like mine on top. You can put it on the bottom all the way down here by the range slider. You can put it on the top of the shelf all the way at the top, which is a little weird for me. It's not my thing, but you know, or you can have it floating just like it is here. But I like mine at the bottom of the timeline right here. Oh, I'm sorry, top of the timeline, excuse me. Yes. And actually here, from the tools, like I said, we're gonna go over the green tools today. You can actually reorder them just by dragging them around. You can see my yellow tools are in front of my green tools now, orange, so on and so forth. Super, super awesome. And you can see that these tools and the tools over here change whenever I select a different set of tools. These ones that are highlighted, these are actually the ones that are pinned to the toolbar. So let's say for some reason, I don't want this or this, right? You can see how they disappear from the precise transform, right? There I have the decrease back and I put the increase back. Or the yellow slider, let's say I want more than just blend to neighbors. I want my tweener also, and I want my tweener world space also. The way I normally use the sliders is I'll use some kind of a shortcut. If you right click on the sliders, it'll show you to the right the combination of hotkeys you need in order to change the slider. But yeah, you can import in export workspaces just like you can preferences. I love, love, love this change. Update, sorry. So thank you again, Alan. Okay, so starting from the bouncing ball example, we're gonna go over the green tools. So this first tool right here is the precise transform. And so you can use this to actually, you can use this to do exactly that. Give the, whatever you're selected, the transforms. And actually, I'm gonna turn off auto key. That way I don't mess anything up. By hitting plus or minus, like I can add 0.5 or I can take away 0.5. And you can obviously change this to what you want using these, or you can just type in the amount that you want. And you'll notice that it changed everything. If I just want TY, say for example, I can just have that selected, and then I can do my transforms that way. Let's say this is really useful for, let's say if you're doing something really mathematically and you want it to increment by a certain number, this is super, super helpful. And then if you right click on, if you right click on these, you can see that you can get different options like the micro and the macro for increase and the decrease. Generally speaking though, I normally leave it at default. I don't really change this all too much, and I don't really find myself using this past blocking. You know, blocking is a great place to kind of use this if you want really precise transforms. But yeah, past blocking, I don't find myself using this tool too much. Also, if you'll notice that if you mouse over some of these tools, you'll see a little box down here, just like this one. This little box indicates that there's a list of settings of what you want pinned to the toolbar. So if I clicked it right there, and then this is a tear off menu, you can see that everything that I have checked is actually everything that's showing of these tools on the toolbar. So if I want to take those out, or if I want to add them back, and this is awesome, the tooltips will let me know that entire tool is collapsed. But yeah, you can do this here, or you can do this in the workspace, just like I was showing you guys earlier. The next set of tools is the nudge tool. There is a certain setting of this tool that I love, and I use quite a bit, and it's great for doing overlap. It's great for doing secondary, and I'll show you guys what that is. But this is the nudge tool. So it basically, as you might have guessed, nudges your keyframes left and right based off of this number. So let's say, you know, you want to move just this key 1 frame, right? And you'll notice that it's only moving this key. It's not moving everything, just the key that it's selected on, and it'll bring me to the frame that is being nudged to. But if you want to move everything, if you right click on these, you can see that you can nudge all the keys, meaning all the keys that are selected on that controller. Or if you want to nudge everything in your scene, this is a great one. Like you can nudge right everything in the scene. So if I use nudge right all keys, right, it nudges all of these keys over. But all of my other keys are still, you know, where they were originally. So if I want to move the entire animation of this entire, well, since it's the only thing animated in my scene, if I want to move the keys over of everything, you know, I can use nudge right scene, and it'll shift everything. All of my keys are over by 1, see? That's great for like maybe, say for example, you get a change in your shot where like, oh, the director wants to add a little bit more head to the shot, meaning like they want to add more frames to the beginning of the shot to maybe get the hookup to work a little bit better. Or maybe we need, you know, we need something to happen in the middle. You know, it's really easy to just bookmark it right there and then nudge everything in the scene over. It's a great way to move them without having to worry about like, oh no, did I select everything? You know what I mean? And so this one actually, time offsetter is super, super useful. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this one. This control is where I have my up and down, my TY. And so on my TY, you can see that it's hitting the ground right here on frame 7. What the time offsetter does is this curve, it will slide the curve over, but it'll keep the keys in place. So you'll see that if I use my time right offsetter, let's say, like I said, we're hitting the ground right here, frame 7 and what is this, frame 19, right? So let's say I want to have it hit the ground on frame 10 instead, right? So that's 2 frames over. I'll change this to 2. Wow, that was weird. And then I'll hit my nudge right time offsetter. So my keys are still in the same place, but it nudged it over to the right in the time, I guess, in the graph editor. Sorry, or you know, I guess essentially in time. But the reason why I got such a weird result is because I have all of these custom tangents. But if we were just to do it maybe at default and we were nudging right, yeah, there we go. So you can see that it would make contact over here 2 frames later as opposed to right here. And actually, there's actually a better way to do that in one of the in the slider tool. We'll get to that in a little bit. Cool. Sweet. So the next tool is the reset pose. This little power button right here. So let's say that, for example, let's say you have a character that's posed, right? And you don't like the pose or you want to reset something out. You can just hit this and it'll reset all of the channels in your channel box. If you don't want to do all of the channels, you can right click here and it'll give you the option of doing just the translations, just the rotation, and just the scale. And you know, by default, it's all 3. And actually, if you want it to reset to a default pose, maybe not the rig default, but the default that you choose, right? So let's say that this is my, for some reason, this is my default pose, right? I can snapshot my default pose here. You can see default pose snapshot. And so when I go here, let's say right here, and then I reset, it's going to give me the default pose that I set. So this is really, really great because one of the things that people say when you're working in an acting shot, right? One of the things everybody tells you to do is instead of having your character like an A pose or a T pose, just a default like this, right? They tell you to put your character in a pose before you start working. Put them in some kind of a pose, like their attitude pose. right? Let's say they're in the shot, they're really aloof. And so like they're leaning and you know, they're like this. And this is basically, like this would be their default pose, right? Not this. So a great way to, a great use for this tool would be to make your default pose, right? Whenever you reset it, have it reset to here as opposed to here. That'd be a great use for the snapshot reset pose. The next tool that I use is share keys. Man, I love this tool. Okay, so when I was working with this, and actually, you know what? To further demonstrate my point, let me do this on a clean rig. So let me just duplicate my reference. Hopefully that didn't break anything. Yes. Okay, cool. So when I was doing this, I started with my TY, right? I'm going to turn on auto key again. So let's say he's right here, and then at 5, he's, let's say, reset pose at the bottom, and then 12, let's say he's right here, and then let's say 16, he's at the bottom again. Oops. He's at the 15. There you go. He's at the bottom again. There we go. Okay, so I have my, okay, no, I'll go over those later. I have my TY curve here, right? And this may not be for everybody, but the way I like to work is I like to keep all of my keys on every controller on the same frame. Meaning that, like, if I were to do like the rotations on this one, since I have the translations on this one, I would want to use the keys on 1, 6, 11, and 15. And so what this tool does, this share keys tool does, is I'll select this control, and then I'll select the empty control that I want to put my rotations on, and I'll hit share keys. And then what that does is it'll create an empty key wherever there was a keyframe on this control. That way I don't have to, the old school way of doing this would be to select this control, and then hit S, next key, S, next key, S, next key, S. That'd be the old school way of doing it. And you'll find out very quickly that if you have like a 200 frame shot and you've got like 60 keys on one control, having to do that over and over again is a pain in the butt. So this share keys tool, I love this. I love this tool. So, you know, now I can just animate it like I normally would. And the next tool, I think that's about it for the share keys, actually. Yeah, there's no settings for the share keys. The next tool is the slider. I use this constantly. These two sliders are what animators use constantly. But today I'm just gonna go over the green sliders. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with the concept of this slider, right? This box over here represents -100, and this box over here represents 100. And so those will mean different things based off of which tool that you're using. So let's say, for example, if we right click here, it'll show us all the different settings, right? So let's start with ease in and ease out. You can see that my letters changed right in the middle. And so I'm going to use, sorry, let me just hide this other rig first. That way we won't get confused. I'm going to turn off auto key. Cool, and we'll use this one, and we will use, let's use the contact key right here. Okay, so ease in and ease out, right? So by sliding it all the way this way, I'm going to be easing out of the key previous to it, and then by sliding it all the way forward, I'm going to be easing in to the key after it. So let's see, maybe this key might be a better example. So if I want to ease out of my previous key more, I'll slide it this way. If I want to ease into my next key more, I'll slide it this way. And the reason I'm getting like this really harsh angle in my tangent is just because I've broken them and I made them bounce tangents. But if they were at auto, I would get a more natural ease in, or ease out, I'm sorry, and then ease in. And I'm just going to Control Z back. Cool. Okay, so that would be, you know, negative 100 would be easing out completely out of this. And you can see like this key is pretty much the same as the one previous to it. So, you know, it's a great way of like getting your key back to whatever poses like before or after it really quickly. Instead of like having to like copy the key and paste the key, you can just use ease in, ease out, or you can use a lot of these tools to do that. Oh, another thing I should note is that you can see that, excuse me, these keys have changed after I've used the slider on them. They haven't changed from a keyframe. They've only changed in color. Normally, when it turns green, that normally indicates that it turned into a breakdown key, not a keyframe. But for this particular tool, for, you know, the green slider, it'll change whatever key that you use from red to green. It doesn't mean it's a breakdown key. It just means that it was affected by this slider. Okay, moving on. This noise / wave one, it does exactly what you might think. It'll add, you know, more noise or more of a wave, you know, more randomness and like more randomness and more randomness, sorry, meaning more noise would be negative 100, and more of a wave, like an expected, or what you would expect a wave curve to be, would be 100%. Next is push and pull. I use this one. I think this is my default. Either push and pull or blend to neighbor is my default. But let's say this key, for example, this contact key. Oh no, actually, let's use this one again. Why not? This basically pushes and pulls it from the previous key, from the prior key. So it'll bring it further away from it one direction or the other direction. This is a great way to get offshoot, or this is a way to get, this is a great way to get overshoot in either direction by pushing and pulling it. It'll give it up and it'll give it down. Okay, simplified bake keys. This is a good one too. So this is great for baking actually, or reducing keys. Let's say you have this curve and for some reason, like when you were creating it, you have a bunch of these like redundant keys, right? What this will do is it'll either bake it completely if we go 100%, or it'll give you the least amount of keys and still achieve the same curve as close as possible. This one's really useful if you're trying to do the time offsetter. So let's say I want to offset it by maybe 4, and then the nudge right time offsetter. It'll give me the same. Keys. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter since there's a key on every frame, but it basically just offsets the curve. I'm going to Control Z all of that. That one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, cool. Back to normal. Okay, let's see, what else do we got? Smooth and rough. Just like it says, it'll either smooth it out or it'll make it more rough. This is good for if you want to add a little bit of dirt to your animation. Sometimes things look too clean or too polished, you know, and sometimes they'll ask for maybe a little bit of texture, a little bit of dirt. Depending on where your keys are, you may have to put it in manually. Like for this particularly, I would probably add it in a little bit more manually because I don't think there's enough keys here to really benefit from using smooth and rough. But this is great for that. I would most likely do it on a layer, and I would use either like smooth and rough or maybe a little bit of noise and wave, one or the other. Scale from average. So scale from average is pretty similar to the way you would scale keys in the graph editor like this using the scale tool. Only when you scale from average, it'll average out based off of the equidistance from the key that has the most value and the least value, right? So our highest value is up here and our lowest value is right here. It's going to scale it from the immediate middle of that. It'll average out those two and scale from right there. Scaling from default does exactly what you would expect it to do. It scales up or down from 0. Or actually, it might be it might be scaling from a different, okay, I know why. Do you guys remember when we snapshotted our default pose right here? So when we're scaling from default, it's now going to scale from here. So since our default's right here, it's pretty much at 0. Let's snapshot our new default. And then now if we scale from default, there we go. It scales from where you would expect it to. That one's awesome too. Like let's say, oh, maybe, you know, don't have it bounds as high. So just do that a little bit, and then it looks a little bit funny. Okay. Scale from frame. Scale from frame is pretty cool. So let's say, let's take this frame, for example. You can see here that at the beginning and the end of scale frames, there's these 2 white boxes. So what this is going to do is what the slider is actually going to do. It's going to blend between 2 frames of your choosing. So this white frame right here, let's say I'm on frame 1, and you know I want this to be my first frame that I blend from, and then so I can just click it, and then you can actually see. You see these lines that are, I'm using my finger, but you can't see that. You can see the lines that are at the keys that are pointing to. You can see that it's frame 1 and frame 24. And let's say this one, instead of wanting frame 24, I want frame 7. So if I go to this key and I scale from frame, it's going to give me either, oh, there you go. It's going to give me either closer to frame 1 or closer to frame 7. I'm sorry. There we go. Cool. So closer to, no. Thank you. Closer to frame 1 or closer to frame 7? Yes. Seven, yes. Cool. Huh. I'm not quite sure it's why it's given me that, but okay. Anyway, let's move on. Scale from neighbor I use a lot too. It's a great way to lessen curves a little bit more realistically, because a lot of the time you're not going to be scaling from default. You're always going to be scaling from one value or another, right? Let's say from this one, scaling to here. Oh, this is giving me overshoot. That might be why. Scaling from here, because I have these 2 keys selected, so it's going to get the key that is to the left of the last one that's selected. So if I select these, for example, this is the left key of the ones that I have selected, so it's going to scale from there. Or let's say I don't want it to hit the ground, right? I want it to, you know, get closer to here. I can scale that way too, closer. Oh, I'm sorry, that's scale from right. Apologies. There we go. And then what I tried to show you on accident was scaling to here would be scaling to right. It does the same exact thing, except it goes the opposite direction. It'll scale from this key instead. And I should note, though, that what's great about these sliders, and actually this is new, there used to be a button at the edge of these sliders called overshoot, but now there's just an overall overshoot. So you'll see the button over here. If I hit overshoot, all of these sliders change just a little bit, and you can see that these green boxes, or I guess in this case yellow boxes, but you see the boxes on the end, they get brought in just a little bit. So that means we can go further now. Let's say we'll use pull and push. If I want to go 100% this way, I can, but I can also go past it now. Like it'll allow me to go past 100. You can see the number now goes to 150. And you know, this is great for getting overshoot, but if you just want 100, you can just click those. Click the boxes as they are. Most of the time, I don't have overshoot on, only because one of the things that I really like to do is, I think my default is, I think scale. Yeah, scale from average. That's normally what I would do, or that's normally what I have on default. And then I would like scale from neighbor left or scale from neighbor right, just using shift click and middle click, right? So if I were to, let's see. Yeah, all right. If I were to hold shift, you can see that this changes from scale from average to scale to, or actually I have to hold shift and then middle click, and then it'll become scale from left. And then the opposite will happen if I do control. I'm sorry, maybe use alt. Yeah, alt, and then middle click, scale from right. Instead of having a bunch of sliders here all the time, because a lot of these are useful, and at different times you're going to want different ones. So instead of having them all like on your toolbar at the same time, I use a lot of these shortcuts. That's not to say that you can't have more than one on at the same time. You totally can. Oh, let me unfold that. Sorry. Oh, if I haven't mentioned that little arrow at the bottom that's pointing up, it'll collapse that tool. And so let's say if you want scale from neighbor left, scale from neighbor right, but you don't want scale from average, or ease in, ease out, whichever one of the two. Instead of having like, a lot of these on at the same time, because there's just a lot to look at, I personally just leave one and then I use a lot of the shortcuts. I don't want that one, I want scale from average. Cool. And so one of the newest features also is the sliders pop-up. This is awesome. I love this one too. So I'm actually going to search this one. It'll help. So the slider pop-up, here we go. You can see that if you bind it to a hotkey, let's say, let's bind it to something. Sliders pop-ups, bind it to, I don't know, you. Sure, why not? Okay. If I'm moving around in my viewport, right, and then I want to use one of my sliders, I can just press U, and it'll give me my sliders here. And then that way, I don't have to travel all the way down here, right? It'll give me the option of using whatever slider I want just from right here. And actually, let's use a different control. That way it'll be a little bit more clear. Let's see. There we go. And let's use TY. And then let's say, for example, that I want this one to not hit the ground, so I can just press U, and then I can make it go further in the ground. Yeah, there we go. I don't know this will take because my auto key is off, but there we go. Nice. Okay, cool. But yeah, that slider is the pop-up slider is great. It eliminates the need to have even these down there if you don't want them. And actually, that's about it for the green tools. That's all we're going to be covering today. I want to be able to have a lot of time for questions with all the Animbot stuff. I feel like this is probably the portion of the entire workshop that, a lot of people are actually looking forward to most, aside from like all the fundamental stuff that we covered already. So yeah, those are the green tools. I'll allow you guys to unmute yourselves if you guys have any questions. Now's the time. Did that all that make sense?
Yeah, I think it made sense. And I want to just add some stuff that I've learned useful for all of those tools.
Sure.
The easy in is out tool that the grillers, it's actually something that I used just recently more with multiple tools selected, and it actually gives you that is in is out curve. Like for example, if you have like the hold, it will just give you the whole keys, not just like on a flat, but it will ease them in. Like if you have like 3-4 keys selected and you ease them in, it will give you that curve. You don't have to like put it by eye or something.
Yeah, it's a great way to get, I think what you might be referring to, or maybe like something along the lines of like a moving hold or something.
Yeah, Because
Yeah.
if you use the tweener, it will give you like all the keys will be flat with the same value.
Hmm.
But this the green Zine will give you like this curve throughout the whole keys.
Yeah, there's no overshoot or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and the nudge tool, I use this all the time, like since the A tools. It actually nudge the keys to where you are. Like if you're on a timeline, like for example, if you go to frame
Yeah,
3,
that's right. That's
nudge
right.
1, 2, 3 with no matter the value.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This
So
one is, for me, that was very useful.
thank you. I completely forgot about that. Okay. If you guys don't have any other questions, I wanted actually to start answering the questions that you had posted, Fabio, in the Slack channel. Okay, so the first question that you mentioned is you were looking for a way to add in-betweens in the timeline instead of just the graph editor. Is that correct?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like the nudge tool, but without Animbot.
Yeah, yeah. You can just right-click and go to keys, and you should be able to add or remove in-betweens here. This command, personally.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What I didn't find is this command in the hotkey editor.
Ah, okay.
I know it's this command, but in the hotkey editor, I can only find the graph editor one.
Okay. So I actually have this bound to a hotkey also. It's not in this version of Maya, but let's see if we can find it together. Let's see, by application command, add in between. There we go. Oh, okay. So there's my custom one. Let me look at my custom one and let me look at the runtime. Designer, add in between, edit keys, add in between. Huh. Okay. So I think this action, the action that I have is actually calling it from the same graph editor, but it's just applying it to type designer, edit keys. Okay, there we go. All right, so it should be, maybe it's in here. Or maybe in, no. Editors. Time editor. View, edit. Track mode. I have, oh, that's fine. Okay, sorry. The reason I have mine bound is because it's a custom script. It's not default out of Maya. But there's a command that you can use. I can give you the script if you want. It's just a, it's still there's still Maya commands. I have this bound to mine, and I'll go ahead and reply to you in the Slack channel. That way you can bind it to a custom one if you want.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay. And then you were also talking about using the marquee selection, so select controls. That sometimes you'll find that you don't have like all of the controls selected in your marquee.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't know why it happens. It happens since I started using Maya in 2008.
Yeah.
And that's something they never fixed. I don't know why. If you select also all the keys you have in the graph editor and you hit cycles, post cycle and I don't remember the other one.
In and out.
Post infinity and pre infinity cycles. Sometimes you get just one curve, two curves that they don't have the cycles. And the same thing happens with the selection. You can mark the square selection to the whole character, and then you find in the middle of the scene that there is one control in the middle, and you don't know why. That it doesn't have any key.
So I do know the bug that you're talking about, and I do know I've run into that a couple of times because I've used it. I've been using Maya for a while too.
Yeah.
So what happens is, like, if you're doing it over a character, sometimes what Maya reads is it only reads the top node. So
Yeah.
it'll still look like it'll still look like everything is selected, but since you have the top node selected, it'll look like everything else is selected
Yeah.
too, because all those are children. What I do normally, normally when I do this, I'll do a marquee selection, but I'll also do a control shift selection just to make sure I have everything selected. That normally gives me everything that I want. Very rarely though will I select the entire rig like this. Like the only time I think I'll really do it is maybe on frame 0. But you know, when I do a marquee selection, I want multiple controls. I'll most likely do a control shift one instead of just a default one. That's given me better results.
And to your experience, most of the time you get all the controllers by control shift that one.
Yeah, if I do it that way.
Selection.
Yeah, if I do it that way, yeah. But if you're looking to cycle all of your curves, I believe there is a tool in Animbot that'll let you cycle everything actually. I'm actually not sure where it is, but it might be in the extra tools. Like here somewhere, Anim curve. Oh, this smart Euler filter is great too, by the way. Editor. Okay, anyway. We're going to get to these tools in later classes. So, okay. And then you had another question. You had a question about Studio Library.
Yes.
Okay. So you were wondering how to save a pose and stuff, and the thumbnail specifically.
The thumbnails, just the thumbnails, because I use that, and I see your library, which was really, you know, precise, and everything has a really, you know, the same frame for the hands.
Yeah.
But every time that I do that, I have like one friend plus a piece of the arm, and then it's another zoom and another kind of. So
I see.
My library is kind of a mess to see. It's not really that intuitive.
So you're more so talking about, let's say,
you see, they have more or less the same
camera angle.
Yeah.
Okay. So it should be noted that when these were created, they were not taken from a shot. They were taken from a library file specifically. That's why they have all the same camera view. So let's say, for example, that let's say that the only poses in the file are of the hand, and so the arm is always in the same position. So it's really easy to get that camera view back. But I think you should be able to save it in a bookmark. Let me try. So let me save this ball, and let's create a new one. Ball, test, and then if we use this, we can use this. And then, you should be able to
change it by there.
Yeah, you should be able to use, or if you set it to a camera, or you even set it to a bookmark, you should be able to use the same camera view every time. So let's say,
you just use something I never used.
Oh, okay. So
the camera bookmark. Okay.
Yeah. So let's just say, and there's a tool here. You can either snapshot it from your perspective view, the view that you have active, or you can load one in, or if you use this one in the middle, it'll give you another viewport that you can capture from. And then, let's say from here that we want to use this angle the entire time. So you can actually create a camera from view. That way, you can always go back to this, or you can create this as a bookmark too. That way, it'll always put your camera back to where it should be for when you create maybe like a library of poses of the fingers, or a library of poses from the hand or for the face.
And if I create a bookmark, I can then lower it again for the next pose, for the next
yeah,
library.
technically
item.
you should be able to. Let's try actually. Bookmark. Am I crazy? I just saw it. Okay, here. Here. Test. Fly. No? Add to shell? Okay, cool. Oh, that was weird. Bookmark test. Okay, cool. So technically, I should be able to. Yep. And then, so if I go into here, and I should, hang on, I'll change it first. And then I should go into bookmarks and test. There we go. Yeah, so you should be able to, use a bookmark if you want, if you don't want to create a whole other camera.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And
then from here, it's just the normal save. You can capture it and then just save it. Oh. Save.
Okay, so the background color that I see there, it's just something you add to the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something
okay.
that's something that's in the scene.
It's not a studio library function for someone.
No.
Okay.
No,
okay.
it's not. It's actually in the Maya scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like an option for studio
No,
library.
not quite. I think you might be able to. You can filter them by type, but I'm not quite sure if you can like color code them. That I'm not sure of. Let me see. You might be able to. Oh yeah, I guess you can. You can color code them through the settings.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I would do if if you're grabbing it from like a scene that's already been animated, like in the characters moving, and you want to get like poses from the library or poses to your library from a scene that's animated already. Yeah, chances are you're going to get something else in there. But from the library that was created, like for this, for example, or maybe actually, I don't know if there are hands in here. I think it's just faces. Yeah.
I have the same issue usually when I'm working on a scene, because most of the time, all those poses that are from the library, like they are created by someone else, just like by a black file, and they take that one pose of the hand and they take all the different poses and the thumbnails and stuff. But if you're saving poses from a scene that you're working and it has a set and it has all the rigs and stuff, I know it's a pain in the ass because you'll have to, because it takes the focal length of the camera that you're using, and you don't want to see it like that. And also you'll have to take everything and like everything else and throw it into a display layer and turn it off, so you can grab only the visual of the thing that you want to get into the thumbnail. So yeah, I know that it's like a constant thing that I have to deal with as well.
Yep. With that, we run into that too at work as well. That's not isolated to just student stuff. We run into that as work as well.
Maybe I found out why I cannot like find the way to to frame object, because I have the 2.3.4 studio library. You have the 2.7.1.
Yeah, I think this is the latest one. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, but in my version, it doesn't. The icons of the little,
the viewport.
You have you have three options, three icons, three little icons in the viewport. I don't have that. I can only click on that, so it's gonna automatically choose the viewport that I have in my perspective.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. And I think the last one you had was about character sets.
Also, well,
what's up?
I don't remember if I wrote this. Do you remember? Do you know if they fixed the bug with the anim layers for Studio Library? Because I know in older version, I don't know if in the last one, but they actually didn't work with Animlayers?
Yeah, so it should work with Animlayers now.
Ah, okay, they
let's-
fixed it. Okay.
Yeah, let's test it out. Fall test, and let's capture that. Sure, and save. Cool. And then let's make an anim layer, and then let's say I'll set a key here, and then down here I'll hit apply. Yeah, it works on anim layers also.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and I think it just didn't take because I have auto key off. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they work on anim layers now.
Perfect. They fix it. Perfect.
And yeah, I think the other question you had was about character sets.
Yeah.
I used to use character sets a lot before I started working in production. Like when you're working in a production, they normally have like some kind of sets you can already use, or you can create your own sets using like Animbot. But I used to use character sets a lot. It's a great way to key your entire character without having anything selected. It's a great way to go through your dope sheet really quickly. It's not used normally in production anymore, only because of all the custom sets that characters already come with. But that's not to say that you can't use them. If you want to create them when you're working on your own shots, you totally can.
Okay.
The problem with
yes.
Sorry, the problem with character sets is that when you add like controllers to a character set, it's really time consuming, especially if you have to add only certain channels that you want. Because a lot of the time, if you add just the control into a character set by default, then you're not only going to get the channels from the channel box, you also get the channels and the shapes. And that's not something that you want keyed all the time, and it'll bog down your scene really quickly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And whereas if you don't add it by default and you have to select the channels that you want, let's say, you end up wanting to animate a channel that you didn't add initially. That's just more time, basically.
That's
But,
what I meant when I wrote that they are not really. It's kind of they're not really smooth to work with.
Yeah.
That's my problem with them. Okay.
Yeah, it's more so preference than anything else. But yeah, if I could make a suggestion, I'd most likely use the Animbot selection sets.
Yeah, the thing is that I like character set, as you mentioned, for the dope sheet. When I want to use the dope sheet, because you have kind of old school 2D software layers.
Yeah, I know. I totally get it. That's exactly why I used the character sets with the dope sheet also.
Yeah, while this way, if you use the dope sheet, you just have the rigger version of you have all the controls and but by character set you can actually call an arm like just left arm, and you can move the keys around as you like.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, to do only that, it's kind of too much time consuming.
It is, yeah, to create those sets in itself, right? So you mean like a character set for the entire character, and then sub character sets for the arm, for the other arm, for the head. Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah. And so it's cool for the dope sheet, but for the rest, it's like I use the Animbot one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's more so preference than anything else, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Oh, and on that same note, I actually have a hotkey for remove in between also. I'll give you that one as well. I posted the code for add in between, which is it's pretty rudimentary, but here we go. I'm guessing it's just pulling from the same library. Yeah. Okay. So these are Mel, just in case you need that also. Okay. Did you guys have any other questions?
Thanks.
About anything? It doesn't have to be about what we covered today. It could be about anything.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Like, how would you change the color of the key? Like the golden pulse, another color different, like different color.
So there are actually different ways you can do that. You can use the tinting here in Animbot. That's what I would use. Yeah, let's say if you want like your main keys to, let's say this guy. Let's say you want your main keys to be yellow. You know, you can use the tint here. You can see that these are yellow already because I think I affected them with this. I'm not sure, but let's say I want my breakdowns to be green. Yeah, I would use the tint here. If you want, there's another way to tint them using anim layers, or if you want your keys on a anim layer to be different, that way you know you're on an anim layer. If you right-click this little dot right here, you can choose what color you want your keys to be. That way, let's say you have like more than one anim layer, right? And you have this one selected by accident. So if you hit a key and it turns out pink, you'll immediately know that you're on an anim layer. It's a lot easier to keep yourself from making mistakes.
Oh, no. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you just answered a question that I was about to do about the same thing.
May I?
Yeah.
May I add one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a window. Under window, there are color options. Actually, Maya has kind of two normal keys color and one breakdowns. And the normal keys color are just keys and fix special, I think. And under window color settings, you have the I think in time slider. Yes, in time slider. You have it's in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Sorry.
There's time slider. The one above.
Oh, oops.
Okay. There is tick special, breakdowns, and keys. And tick special is actually another kind of key that you can activate with kind of a mel code. And you can then assign like an out key for that. So you can key yellow or you can key red. And it's not breakdown key, so it doesn't move if you slide or scale the animation.
That's great. Thank you.
And welcome. And I think it's the same that Alan used in the bottom in Animbot.
Yeah, I think so, which is why I was more so referring to this one, because having to change the default color of the key all the time, it sounds like a really long process. So just having, just selecting everything and tinting them this way might be a little bit easier.
Yeah, for example, I have S to hit the red key and Alt S to hit the yellow key.
Nice.
But I guess the thing with that hotkey to tint the colors of the keyframes, the problem is if you set a new key, I think it's not gonna come with the new color. It's gonna use the same default color that it is.
Correct.
Because I was having like my main issue was when I was working with anim layers. I'm colorblind, so I literally cannot see the red, the fucking red in there. So I was using a lot the tinting the entire time slider. But every time I set a new key, I got the problem that the new one would be red as it is,
and you can't see it
instead of keeping like that same. But now with the trick of just changing changing that setting, that's gonna save me. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You just right-click the dot, you can change the color.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you guys have any other questions? Okay. Okay. If you guys think of anything, don't feel shy to put them in the Slack chat. And if there's something I'm covering or something that I'm going over that you know, you want to know more about, or maybe there's something that I'm not covering that you want to know more about, let me know. You know, these next few classes are heavily centered around Animbot, like I said, and it's designed to have a lot more time at the end of the class for questions. So, you know, I can definitely fill that time with other topics if there's something else you guys want to learn about. Cool. Okay, thanks guys. Appreciate it. I will see you guys on Wednesday.
Thank you, Steven.
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.